Hi, I'm David. My advice with dissertations would be to kind of focus on how you learn best, whether that's taking information and then writing it down. Just to give you an example, my dissertation was the manipulation of time, narrative and the cinematic form in the films of the artist Omar Fast and the filmmaker Christopher Nolan. For me, I was researching a lot into the philosophy of time and also narrative in cinema and in the edit. But a lot of these concepts got quite overwhelming until I managed to narrow them down into comparing and contrasting to artists and filmmakers who I had a lot of respect for, but also had a lot of knowledge already of their work. So it's very good to look into some really high-minded themes and artists who you admire, but at the same time draw on your knowledge already and your interest in a certain area. Like mine with cinema, I was able to bring a lot of that into my dissertation as well. And then the research doesn't become so much of a chore. You're looking into aspects of your work and other people's work that actually really fires your imagination, and that kind of helps to craft a much more rounded but also much more rich and enjoyable essay, really.
I'd say with a dissertation you have to stick to a subject that is close to your heart and close to your practice, because I find it's an infinitely more enjoyable experience when you're actually researching ideas and artists whose work actually speaks to you, and you'll get a much more rich dissertation which have links to other ideas through your practice as well as the writings of others. But it's important also not to get kind of too bogged down with the writing of others, because at the end of the day it is practice led, so the ideas come first rather than a kind of critique of others' work. But ultimately it is important to try and deconstruct ideas as well as have them influence your own, but you can provide your own opinion and your own drive through the opinions of others you choose and the ideas you choose to investigate.
Okay, my advice would be to pick something that you really enjoy and to think quite a bit about your contextual research. For example, it doesn't have to be something like a really heavy book. You could look at videos, galleries, even sort of exhibitions rather than a single piece of artwork. So make it fun for yourself and just enjoy doing it. Don't spend all your time focused on it. Try and plan your time really well. I did quite a bit of reading over the summer, which meant that even though I didn't use all the books I'd read, I'd already narrowed it down by the time I was starting. Yeah.
My advice to you starting to think about your dissertation is, first of all, do loads of reading. Read around your subject that you're passionate about, and I actually didn't know how to write an essay, let alone a dissertation, so I accessed the study skills, which is on Moodle, and through that you can access courses and mentors, but loads of just really good information. And I accessed, there's quite a lot on critical analysis, critical thinking, which was really helpful for me for the dissertation, so that I could add that into my essay writing, become more, looking at things from different angles. So that was really key. Another thing which that helped me with was planning. So really, really key, plan. I wrote it in my diary, so what bit I was going to be tackling, and I gave myself early deadlines, so that even though you're not going to keep them, you've got them there and you're working towards them, and that helps keep you on track. What else would I advise? Just keep doing little bits every week, so don't consume yourself with it totally, but if you plan and you carve out that time, then you can still spend loads of time in the studio making your work, and then in the holiday you can have a splurge and do loads. Okay.
My advice for the dissertation module is to not see it as something that's separate to your studio practice. I definitely focused on mine as being an extension of a creative task rather than seeing it as a piece of writing in itself that I had to produce for a grade. I think what can really help that is using lots of different sources potentially than just, say, research books. So you can draw in both other artists and exhibitions, but also take inspiration from literature, from music, from other things that interest you in the world around you, basically, and from other interests that you have in life. I think that being able to edit that material is a really valuable skill, and something that I perhaps didn't do quite so effectively in mine. And that's definitely something that if I went back, I'd probably think a bit more about a sort of an easier string of thought to go through it. I think that time management is also really important in that respect. If you've got something that really interests you, then start researching around it before you get to the start of the term, because you're going to be wanting to run it alongside your studio practice so that you can be more playful with your ideas. And that's pretty much it. Good luck and enjoy it more than anything. And yeah, don't see it as something that's a task or a chore. Just really get stuck in.